It was just so much information coming your way. Like, I could not possibly read every chapter in that med-surg book.
When you feel it's hopeless, when you think that you lost, oh, I will take your hand and we'll rise up from the dust. Oh, here we go, 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 let us heal and grow. You won't be alone, we're unstoppable.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This video today that I will be doing will be about things I did to survive nursing school. I came up with the most important things that really were effective. I'm gonna try to give you as much and as detailed as possible. Just a little background information. I went to a 12-month program. It was accelerated. When we graduated from that program, we had a certification in practical nursing, and we were eligible to take boards in the state of Ohio. So I have 6 survival tips for you guys for nursing school accelerated program. I'm just telling you what I used in LPN school, and I plan on using it in RN school too. So my first tip that I have for you, to find out your learning style. There are several types of learning styles. I'm verbal, which means I need writing and listening and writing. And then I also am solitary, which means I do better alone. Originally, when I take in the information, I need to hear it and then I need to write it, and that's how it's gonna stick with me. Maybe there's a specific topic that I am not grasping, and I can do other things to reinforce the learning. So I do encourage you guys to play around with different learning styles. You never know which one might work with you, but also learn the one that's most effective for you. A survival tip is to record lectures. So what I used to do is use my phone. I downloaded like a recording app. For my RN school, I am getting me like I'm gonna invest in me a recorder. I recommend that you do get a recorder. If you do not want to spend money on a recorder, you can download an app. If you are a verbal learner like myself, I would recommend that you try that and see if it works for you, if nothing else is working, because it really works for me. My next survival tip for nursing school would be to do the questions in the back of your book. My med-surg book, it had the chapters, and then at the end of that chapter is like critical thinking questions. Take those questions and also put them in my notes. I could not possibly read every chapter in that med-surg book. It was just so much information. If there was something that I didn't understand that was in the lecture, maybe to get a better understanding, I would go and read on that particular thing. But to read every single chapter, I don't know. I just couldn't do it. My suggestion, record your lectures, listen to them, make notes off of them, and get those comprehension questions and those critical thinking. And if you have some in the back of the book, use those two to help you study. Another two that helped me through nursing school was the internet. I use Google, I use Quizlet, I use YouTube the most. Those are the 3 that I use the most. There's All Nurses, and it's for nursing students, nurses. It's almost like a little social website like Facebook, but it's for nurses. And they talk about nursing things, and I made a page on there. Anytime I had a question or something, I would put it on there, and nurses would just comment up under it. And I would use Quizlet. There are a lot of Quizlets on each subject and each chapter. Like literally, you can get the chapter, the exact same chapter that you're studying. Also, I use YouTube for stuff like in med-surg, we would learn about like crackles and all the different lung sounds, heart sounds, and if you don't know what that, I mean, they teach you it, but you don't know what that sounds like. So when you go to clinicals, they're gonna ask you like, how did the lung sound? And if you don't know what crackles is, or you don't know what wheezing is, and you don't know how to identify if that was crackles or wheezing, but YouTube has a lot of that on there. So my next tip is index cards. Now, I didn't really use index cards all like that. I mostly use my index cards for mnemonics, pharmacology. I used a lot of index cards for, and like every now and again maybe a picture, but that is probably my least way of studying, is through pictures. I will never remember a picture. I will never remember a face.
Well, I do remember a face. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about.
But I do remember faces. But a picture is not something that's going to stick in my mind. If it does, it's going to be so random. So, every now and then I can get away with that, putting a picture on an index card. But for the most part, I use them for farming. I use them for mnemonics. And like I said, I rarely did that, but they did help. I also put my own made-up quizzes on flashcards. I know people, that's how they study, is through flashcards, and they made it through. So that's a good survival tool. Last but not least, in this survival tool, we have a love-hate relationship. Group study. So with group study, I know a lot of people use group study to actually study. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. But I used to use group study as well, but like I said, I am more of a solitary learner. What I do is I have to get my foundation. Like group study was like
my learning style was dinner and group study was dessert.
But I'm serious. Yeah, I'm corny, y'all. Group study was good for me and I used to use it, but like I said, I had to go back home after I get my lecture. I had to go back home, write it down, and do my foundation, do my work, and then I could come into a group. I really encourage group study for all types of learners, and the reason because usually somebody is giving back to me, and I guarantee you on your test you are going to get like something you did in your group study, you got something from somebody, and I guarantee you something you got from that group while y'all were group studying is going to be on that test. Even if you're somebody who likes to study alone, I encourage like maybe one study on that topic before your test. Y'all do like a quick group study. Find you 2 to 3 people to do a study group with, and I promise you it's gonna be much more successful. Study groups were a bonus to me. Guaranteed something that I did not get while I was studying, somebody gave to me during a study group study, and it was on the test. I say that group studies we have a love-hate relationship because sometimes group studies can get me confused as well, but it does me more good than it does harm. So I do encourage group studies. Those were my tips for surviving nursing school, because it's not easy, and I just want you guys to know, like, some days you're gonna cry, some days you're gonna laugh, some days you're gonna do both, some days you're gonna be mad, some days you're gonna be like, why in the did I choose this profession? Like, what I used to tell myself when I get discouraged is that, and I did really well in nursing school, and that's not because I was smart, but because I really put in effort to understand and learn the information. And so the one thing that when I got discouraged, and I would say this out loud to myself, and when my classmates would get discouraged, like, I talked to everybody and we all basically had the same feeling of stress. And What I would tell myself is people are doing it, so it's doable. Or it's doable because people are doing it. So just know that if people are doing it, you can too.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything better. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you.
I told y'all I was corny.
Oh, here we